So YouTube, as you can see, we blew up the engine in the Mustang, and in today's video it's gonna be a pretty much update video. We ended up getting an F-150 engine for the car, and then we took the engine out and assessed the damage and found out that pretty much the engine is not reusable except for the cylinder heads, which is great. So we took the car apart, took the engine out, inspected it, and then we ended up putting together the new motor with the refresh heads, which are just my stock heads. And big shout out to my uncle Lester for giving me a deal on the machining on the new heads. Pretty much redid them and made them brand new. We put that on the engine, then we put it in the car, and you'll see what came with that. Looks like this is a lot worse than I thought it would be. Yep, whole piston down there, and the rod is down there. It didn't go through the block, but clearly we lost that rod and that piston. And scored up the cylinder head just a little bit on cylinder 2 right here. That's about the only one. I'm about to check the other side in a second. All these chunks of piston. There's a wrist pin right there. Another chunk of piston. Part of the connecting rod. The cap. And boy oh boy. There is the rod. Golly, I didn't think it was this bad. So we got ourselves a Gen 3 F-150 engine, and I'm about to open it up and see if it's good. Hopefully everything's all good. We've kind of turned it over a couple times, see if it's smooth. It's pretty smooth, but the tall tale of whether or not this is a Gen 3 engine is the fact that it has direct injection, which is this one of the pumps for it, for the fuel injection, the DI on this engine. The biggest difference between the F-150 engines and the Mustang engines is, one, the intake manifold is slightly different and they're color coded. So for Mustangs this would be gray, for F-150s is black. Then on top of that, this right here, the oil cooler. The fact the oil cooler is facing forward on the F-150 versus on the Mustang, it's facing to the side and down, kind of pointing towards the steering rack. And additionally, something you guys need to know is that the oil pumps are slightly different. So the Mustang oil pump has thicker gears to flow more oil volume versus the F-150. So if you wanted to use this Gen 3, for example, like I'm doing the F-150 engine, if you want to use the oil pump on this one, you need to order F-150 oil pump gears because it's a little bit thinner. And to be able to use the same pan with the same pan right here with the F-150 oil pump, you would have to use the Gen 3 F-150 pickup tube, and that'll allow you to use this pan. But since I'm using a Gen 2 oil pump, which is basically the oil pump that my engine came with, except for it's a newer one, I'm not going to use the same one. We're going to be using the Gen 2 Mustang oil pump gears, and we're going to be using the same pickup tube, and we got a brand new oil pan. So basically the same metal oil pan as this one, but a brand new one, because I don't really want to take the chance of getting any debris into the new engine. The biggest thing about this is that we're going to be using our original heads. I actually had the heads checked out, and apparently the engine skipped timing and bent like half of the valves, but the machine shop, they fixed the valves, replaced them, and resealed the entire head and completely cleaned it and made it look brand new basically. So to be able to run that on this Gen 3 engine, we're also going to have to use our original timing cover, which is all good. Timing cover is all good and everything. And we're also going to use our original pulley. Now I'm going to figure out about the tensioners. So I think you need like a special pin to like loosen these up, which I don't have, so I might have to get some new tensioners maybe, if I can't use them off of this engine. We'll see. But we're gonna get right into it. Go ahead and start tearing this one down and then see where we're gonna go after that. And as well, another little fun fact is that the cams and these Coyote motors, they have a filter inside the cam. I actually lost my filters. I'm not really sure where they are. Hopefully I can find them. If not, I'm gonna have to wait and order some, because we don't want no catastrophic failures because we're missing a filter. So let's get right into it. Got the valve covers off and most of the accessories on the front off. And so far it's looking pretty good. This side is like really clean, like almost like new looking. And then this side has more oil staining, just from, you know, oil sitting there. But overall it looks pretty solid so far. This is a F-150 engine, like I said, so I'm pretty sure it's probably high mileage or whatever, because typically F-150 engines are. But next step is get this front cover off, and then we'll be able to continue to get the heads off, get this direct injection fuel rail off, and then try to loosen up the cams and all that good stuff. And then we'll be able to get these head bolts down there and get this head off. Alright, so we got it open now. It's super windy out here. But here's the assembly. The rods, the crank, oil pump, and the pistons for the most part. Everything looks pretty good. But the oil is really sludgy and old looking. So, you know, when the time comes, we get some fresh oil in this thing. But overall, everything in here looks really solid, very clean, very stable looking. Like it hasn't had many issues, just probably daily driving. You can barely see an oil pump. But now we're gonna flip it back over, get this cover off, and then get the oil pump off and go from there. At this point, we got the engine pretty well cleaned up. Now we're just assembling the engine with all the new parts and gaskets, and then we're gonna prepare it to go back into the car. All right, so I just about got the engine ready to go in, but now I have a problem. It looks like my new XCD clutch isn't going to work with the stock flywheel. So I'm kind of ready for this thing to run, so I might just wait to get another flywheel, or I might just put my original clutch back on, because it's not that bad and it never was slipping or anything like that. I might put that back on for the time being and worry about it later, but we'll see. I might just put, like I said, put the stock clutch on. So this is our XCD pressure plate, and the holes don't line up exactly the same as the stock flywheel, which sucks. But this is also the new XCD clutch disc. It's roughly the same size as the original one. Here's the original pressure plate, and of course, you know, it's got some wear and tear on it from me clutch kicking all the time. But clutch disc isn't that bad. And it never slipped, like I said, so I might be putting that back on here, because I don't really feel like waiting, you know, 3 more weeks to get another clutch, basically, or a flywheel, I mean. All right, so I got the clutch line out, which is this piece right here. Put that down. And here's our new steel braided one, and I went ahead and put these little adapter pieces into the steel braided line, and it's just going to go into the slave cylinder right there, and to the clutch line right here that goes to this master that controls the brake booster and the clutch line all together. And the way that we're going to essentially bleed this is just by pumping the brakes. There's no way to bleed this. You just got to keep pumping the brakes, the clutch pedal until it's full of fluid. Okay, now that we got the clutch line done, the next thing that we're going to do before you know, I attempt to put the engine back in, is we're going to take the handbrake out, so I can then place in my new hydro mount. We're going to be doing a pull-up style handbrake. So I pretty much have this, let me switch it. I had the center console out. For the most part, I've already taken the little bolts on the side out. It would be a lot easier if the seat wasn't in the way, but we're not going to worry about it. But now I got it loose. Should be able to pull it out now. Yep. Had to go under the car and disconnect this from the little bracket down there, and disconnect it from the rear brake lines, or cables, I mean. So we're just gonna put that right there. So now we get this big old hole right here. So the way that we're gonna mount this, so this is how we're gonna mount the handbrake into the car. This is a mount made by Bright Slide, aka Elliot Bright. Huge shout out to him. He does, if you haven't seen him, I'm gonna put his Instagram and everything in the description down below. But Elliot, he does a lot of hot pit auto fest. He also drives the S550 Gen 3, and he has a pull-up style handbrake, and he created this bracket so that you can easily mount a pull-up style handbrake onto the S550 chassis. and a huge shout out to him. And like I said, hit him up for any of you that have an S550 and want to do a pull-up style handbrake in your car. This bracket is going to be a game changer for us to make it a lot easier so that we don't have to fabricate anything crazy or anything like that. All right, so the next day, pretty much have the engine in here. We have the exhaust, not the entire exhaust, but just the headers and the downpipe on right now. Then I'm gonna put the exhaust on after I get the front end on. Pretty much got an entire wiring harness plugged up except for this area right here. And then we're going to go ahead and put the crash structure back on and this upper support back on. So the car's finally ready to start. I don't have any coolant in here yet, so I'm not gonna run it that long. And just gonna see if it can start. I need to put a cap on this, put a cap on that hose and the one on the back. And that's pretty much it. I think I need to put a hose clamp on here for the, I think this is the evap system, but everything else is pretty much squared away for the most part. I don't see anything that I've forgotten. Before we actually start the car, I have to put the dash back in, or the center console back in, because I'm not sure which plug it is down here that communicates to the key. But I unplugged it one time and the car would not start because it couldn't detect the key. So I'm not sure which plug that is, so I'm just going to put the center console in, and also this hydro, and it actually clears everything so far. See, and this is just with the main center console area in, and look at that, just how Bright Slide intended it, nice and clear. But now I'm going to put the top half of it on there, which is right here. I'm going to put the top half on there, which is the part that has the plug to this, which I think is what goes to the thing that communicates with the key. That was super loud because I don't have the exhaust on. Yeah. If you listen closely, you'll be able to hear that the engine is making this weird ticking sound, which ends up being a problem for us a little bit later.